looks makes a little ugly on my I think it might just be the Elgato, the way it's because it looks fine on my TV, but it looks a little muddy on that. Though it might just be the background or the backgrounds, because I know I tried using a different background earlier. So I don't know. We'll see how it looks. If it is the best it is gonna be managed, so yes, I let me tell you about this one trophy. It's the most bullshit trophy in the game. It is the sole trophy I am missing from this game, besides the Platinum Trophy, of which you need all the others. Treasure Hunter, hold every... Please boost that mic. Is my mic too low? It's weird, it should be really high up. I guess I could jump it up to 100. Uh, so you got to hold every single weapon and accessory in the game. Now, there are some that are missable. I think there's like one or two that are missable, like, incredibly early. Am I blowing your ears out now, Trev? Don't be mean to me. A couple of them that are missable early on, and I didn't realize that until about 100 hours in. So the game's gonna go faster. This is not gonna be a 100-hour stream series. I'm gonna show most of the grinding and whatnot too, but we're gonna this is not going to be like a 33-part series. You know, we should be this is gonna be fun. I think we're gonna have fun here. I'm just showing off that yes, I absolutely do want to. I want you to see what has been looming over my head. Because you know when I got the last trophy in this game? I think Adamant Will was the last trophy I got before then. I got this trophy in 2010. I have, and it burned me so bad that I haven't picked this game up since 2000. I played a little in 2011, but I haven't gone back since. So, I say this is my favorite Final Fantasy. I have not touched this game in over 8 years. So I'm very likely going to discover things that probably aren't going to fly with how I play video games nowadays. So this is very likely going to be the death of this game for me, especially because I'm going to have to rediscover a lot of things blind. Yeah, I wish this game had New Game Plus. That would be fantastic. Grab that one last accessory and then just call it a day. Yes, this is actually my favorite Final Fantasy. I like it a lot. Because, let me tell you, I don't think linearity is a bad word. I very much enjoy when games are linear. This game is the polar opposite of Final Fantasy 15, by the way. And, you know what? That's why, like, partially why I hate 15 so much and love this so much. Cool, so, we're gonna, you know, the PS3, when you hover over some of the games, they, play, like, certain games will, like, play videos on it, too. Like, White Knight Chronicles, which I'm gonna be streaming probably before long, will play this whole video, and ear-piercingly loud music just starts with, like, no warning. It's like, you go to it, and it's like, and it's, if that hurt your ears, imagine how it feels when the game comes on. It's, it's awful. It's awful. Game's kind of boring too, but no, we'll have fun with it because we can create our own character. But enough fucking around. Let's get started with, as of right now, my favorite Final Fantasy besides probably Tactics. I love Tactics. What's the context on the screen background? Hold it before we start then. It's this meme. Back in the day, I didn't have access to a laptop, so I had to use my PS3 for all of my interneting, my PS3 and my Wii. And so I would just download memes. that I would find online onto my PS3. this, this is the shit I would do, because this is the only way I could experience a lot of them. Like, for example, let's see, I don't know why I have this, and I would download, like, these reaction images, but, like, I would download the sample image size, so it's in, like, 4p. So, you know, I didn't used to be the internet champ that I am nowadays, kids. We all start out with, from humble beginnings. By the way, that picture of the 3 crosses, like, a friend, like, sent me this really cryptic message, and then those, with a picture of those crosses attached. It's like, you can do, messaging on the, have I not changed this since 2015? You can send, like, messages and whatnot, so, and they can have, like, attachments, and that was the kind of shit we would do. We would send each other memes, and, so yeah, he sent me that, and then I completely lost contact with the guy. Then 3 months later, he hangs out with us once, and then we don't hear a word from him. And then I look him up later, and he's been, like, the manager of McDonald's, like, across the country for years. So, anyway, that's my little trip down memory lane. I do kind of want to, like, poke through some of these. Because, like, at this point in time was, like, when I was super, like, into Final Fantasy 13, and that's all I was doing. Like, look at this. I thought this was, like, the coolest shit in the world. This is unironically my background for, like, months. I thought this was the coolest thing. This, look, he's got the Buster Sword. Then, like, what else was there? This is before, Metroid Other M came out. So we were all really excited about the screenshots. That's a dildo. Yeah, this is all just, like, Other M screenshots in this clown meat. I don't know. I don't want to go through this anymore. Anyway, so we're, let's start, huh? I don't actually know how the volume's gonna sound. It should be turned down pretty far, but I don't know how far down it is, so we'll find out. Because this game's got a really beautiful intro cinematic. And a lot shorter loading times than I remember, actually. I swear 15 took way longer to open up than this. Damn graphics. Yeah, the 8, 8 definitive or remastered, whatever it's called, does kind of look like a straight up downgrade. But whatever, I've still got my discs. I can't actually hear this, so I need to get my remote and turn it up. Is my remote dead? Nope. That's good. Oh, that's loud. Maybe a little lower. Oh, damn, but gun, I'm gonna lose my ad revenue. Did that, my remote just turned my fan on? How the fuck does that work? Nope, just sat on my controller. Alright, well, cool. Guess we didn't need that. I think if we sit at the thing long enough, it'll restart. Yeah, this game I still think holds up. 13-2, I hate. I hate 13-2. Like, I've beaten... Like, you know that I hate 9 and 15, but I've at least beaten those. I could never bring myself to beat, 13-2. I can fucking despise that game. Actually louder than I want it to be. How's the volume on your guys' ends? No, 13.2 was the game that taught me to stop buying games for $60. I hated it so much. By the way, you can get bonus themes for your PS3 once you get certain trophies in the game. Let's see. Event subtitles on. Speaker names on. Non-event subtitles on. That should be fine. Do I still have an old load game on this? I don't think I... No, this was the last time I touched it. It was, December 22nd, 2010. I would like to see that intro again, but... I guess we'll do it later, because I can't hit circle to go back to it. So we're just gonna hit new game and jump right on into it, kids. I mean, yeah, generally I don't like the whole leader dies game over thing. I think that's pretty bullshit. But, I don't know. I don't remember it being a huge issue in this game. But I don't know, I was also super bad at this game when I was younger, so...
The 13 days after we awoke were the beginning of the
Whoa,
end.
it's like Final Fantasy 13 days over 2. Cool, let me get all settled on in. You see, it's cool, because we get to see all these fantastic vistas, but we don't get to explore them. Your default Premiere transition. But yeah, for 2000, like... When did this game come out? I think it was like 2010. Like, this game looks fantastic still.
You serious?
Be quiet.
Look, it's Eddie Murphy.
Best of luck.
Oh yeah, 2009 in Japan. I'm thinking of the US release date. Whoa, she's cool.
She did it!
Yeah, that's actually way louder than I thought it would be. Oh, I sure wish I could be doing all this.
You alright? I'm out of the sea.
You can tell because of my hair bird.
So far, so good. They all want to fight.
Good for them.
Yeah, you could use the, some of your later combo hits will use the gun form of the, gunblade. And if you time it right, you can use it to avoid, certain attacks, because you do a huge backflip with it. And if the attack was hitting where you were, you will backflip out of the way of the attack. It's just really hard to purposefully trigger. Hey, see, I didn't even get the appeal of the grand spectacle of this, because when I first played this, I played it on a really small CRT. Like, how small is this? It's like, I think it's an 18-inch CRT that only had mono audio. I wouldn't get an HD TV for like a year after I got this game. Hey, it's Diamond Weapon. I think it's just backwards compatibility on the Xbox One version. Which I think might come of, like, scaling up a bit. Oh, I didn't even bother. See, 13.3, I have no idea why I even bid on. I traded in games to get it for $45. Played an hour of it, hated it because I was so stressed about the time limit and never touched it again. It's like, why did I even bother? Nice frame rate. It's boss time, bitches!
Hey, let's be rational now. Let's send in the big guns now. What do we do?
Watch and learn.
It's like the guard scorpion. You get it? It's like your beloved RPGs. Alright, now here's the gameplay. Okay, they're gonna give me a tutorial. We can skip these, right? I'm gonna view it. So basically, as the ATB bar fills up, similar to like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 12, it's gonna fill up and you can expend segments to do attacks. You can hit auto battle and it tends to pick out what's best for the situation. So we'll hit attack. But really, if you get hit during it, it does kind of, see, it's kind of like getting in the way. See, it's a fine tutorial, because it's nice and easy. You get awarded more ATB segments and more to do with them later on. But for right now, 2 is going to work just fine.
Fall back.
Not so tough now, huh?
Saz, why'd you have to say that?
Hey, that wasn't like a challenge now, all right? Hey! Time to go!
Oh, this is just them, like, moaning into a microphone, huh?
Heads up.
Good old Frokubo.
Won't give up.
Alright, round 2. Also, after every single, here, try out Blitz. That one's mostly just good because it's like a, ow. Blitz is good because it's an AoE, so if there's like enemies around, it's better to use Blitz on. It's not always like more ATB bars expended at once, the better necessarily. Sometimes it is just better to be throwing out your one at a time simply because you're getting more hits out of it. Especially once we get into that stagger bar up into the corner. Do I need this yet? Let's see if we can finish it off. What's the worst that happens? We lose. Does my mic sound scuffed? It might just be because I've cranked the volume all the way up on it. Well, then plus this isn't my good mic from the LPs either. Yeah, Blitz really is just AoE. Well, we got plenty of potions to spare now. And you're fully healed after every battle, so don't worry too hard about it. Bye-bye. And also bye-bye, King Numbers. Glad you could make it for the little bit you could. I didn't see an explosion, so I'm not counting it yet.
We did it. Oh, hey! Aren't you supposed to protect civilians, soldier? I mean, you are Sanctum, aren't you? What are you doing trying to stop the purge? Why don't you tell me that?
I was a soldier.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
I'll just stand here now.
Man. Chocobo, we just can't catch a break, can we? Yeah, that's a good question. Oh well. I better follow her. I'm getting too old.
Ooh, the restricted zone. Can I teach you how to blitz? Yeah, you just use 2 ATB segments IRL, and now you can use blitz. Yes. This one, please. The only one that makes sense. Cool, the data log is how we kind of get a lot of info about this game, so it's fun, cool, and good. Though the camera in this game in general feels kind of jank in general. Anyway, plus hit left triangle. Whoa, look at that, cool. I don't know what this one's even supposed to really convey, but we're gonna see that every single time, so... Anyway, you can see events about what happened, or enemy intel. Unremarkable. It's whatever. What, have you just been using auto battle IRL for your entire life? Come on, man, you're better than that. But yeah, when people say this game is like straight lines, they're not kidding. I don't know, Final Fantasy X was the exact same way, and everyone's like, oh, Final Fantasy X is the coolest. I give it a 10 out of 5. I don't want to save over my other ones, even though they're technically useless because I'm never going back to them. But I don't know, man, I'd like it. I can't just say goodbye to them. I put 100 hours into them. Anyway, we're gonna get into every fight we can because we need the experience. This is actually would have been a great place to show where Blitz would have been useful. But fortunately, standard attacks are kind of doing the job pretty well. And based on like timing, how much damage you take, and the weapons you're using, you get ratings. It's just gonna sit here floating, just no explanation. Okay. And with this, you can hold up, and now your adventure through the hallway is now prettier. Actually, yeah, I kind of want to try that out. We'll go for Blitz. Well, he wasn't close enough to really make it count, but... and I think there are going to be situations where Blitz is pretty much always useful, but... I don't remember a whole lot of the strategies, so... we shall see. Maybe it can pan out this time. Yeah, I swear that got someone else. Yeah, see, it's just kind of, we see an auto-targeted blitz because the enemies were so close to each other. It's almost kind of like Chrono Trigger in that regard. Though I've also heard this is pretty similar to Xenosaga 2's battle system. Well, I mean, it's just such an easy joke to make, where it's like, haha, look, the game is playing itself. And it's like, no shit, Final Fantasy VII was playing itself at this point either. Pretty much every RPG is just going to start out with you're walking down a little bit of a straight path, and all the enemies are super easy to defeat. These are the treasure chests of the game, be sure to grab them whenever you can. they're pretty much always the reward for going slightly off the beaten path, because slightly off the beaten path is all you're gonna get off the beaten path in general.
Not wanting to get purged, I get.
Excuse me.
But taking on trained soldiers?
Better to die than get sent to Pulse. It's hell over brimstone.
Yeah, well, hell's not sounding too bad, because this place ain't exactly paradise.
Domesticated peacekeepers. Nothing to worry about.
Well, maybe not for a soldier girl, but I'm trying to say, hey!
It is funny because he is black.
It came out a lot worse than I meant for it to. Now, I remember they were like, and I'm not sure if this is just like people just trolling on game FAQs, but they're like, wow, Saz certainly talks like really stereotypically black. This game is offensive. I wasn't sure if like that was like an actual like complaint people were legitimately having about the game. You deal enough damage. Well, I'll explain stagger in general as it comes, but generally you want to stagger enemies because they're easier to interrupt their attacks, and you deal a shitload of damage to them when they're staggered. No, I think just part of it is that people just want to bitch. Or they were the people that played 10 right when it launched, and then forgot that it's just as linear as this game in general. Like, the beginning segment of 10 and the beginning segment of this is pretty much just the same game. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, I feel like the complaint that game FAQs would have nowadays, why is this black man in my RPG in the first place, is just the SJWs. Because the second you're not a shaven white man in a video game, game FAQs immediately thinks you're just trying to push the gay agenda or something. Of course, I never got a handle of what people actually thought about Lightning. Like, I remember, I know there's a way to abort and just use the ATB segments you have, but I'm not sure if it's square or triangle. I'll hit that one up next. Beep. Cool, got an iron bangle, so let's go into the equipment. Now, the bangle types are going to give you more HP, so we're going to give ourselves more HP because we're the leader. And when we die, it's a game over, so more HP for more me, please. But how can you hate this game? This is riveting gameplay. This is the true HD experience. I don't know, I feel like the PS3 in general was kind of like... Were there any, like, truly beloved RPGs in the PS3? Like, anything that you would, like, really put as, like, a legendary game you'd have to play in the RPG zeitgeist? Like, I guess Tales of Vesperia, but that one didn't even come stateside on the PS3. Well, yeah, I remember Square, like, pushed Lightning hard in the marketing, but then I never recalled, like, what people actually thought of that. Okay, it's triangle. You hit triangle and you can abort your ATB and just use what you have. I don't feel like Nier and Drakengard, like, really... Well, I still don't feel like Drakengard's really hit it yet. But even Nier 1, like, people sometimes, like... Whenever people talk about, like, Nier 1, they're like,
There was an earlier Nier game, I thought Automata was the only one.
So, no, I don't think Nier and Drakengard count. They're some of my favorite games of all time, but... I still don't think they've hit that level yet. I think if Yoko Taro makes a Drakengard 4 and it kicks ass, then probably, but... Sorry, I'm drinking root beer. Not using a potion right now. That is a waste of potion. Game, that's stupid. Was that like an actual waste of a potion? Yeah, I think that was an actual waste of a potion. Oh well. Gotta get catch that chat as I can. Oh fuck! I feel like this one's straight out of Final Fantasy
There's no
X.
time.
Then what do you suggest we do?
Quiet.
Hey! Wait! No, don't leave me!
Let go!
The hell no! You're my only way out of here!
I remember reading a fan fiction about that one at the tender age of...
Hey,
How old was I?
that might get us across. Right there.
I was 15, and there was a fan fiction about that scene. But I also read a lot, and I mean a lot, of Final Fantasy XIII fan fiction at that point in my life. And golly, I remember, like, back then, it was all, like, Noctis was always in them as, like, the mysterious, like, wow, when is Versus 13 coming out? And then it finally comes out, and it's like, oh,
All right.
I remember what Noctis could have been. I remember what Noctis' game could have been. Didn't Noctis get into Tekken 7 or something? Why? I don't know, I was 15. No, I was 15, and this game left such a huge impact on me that I just wanted to keep experiencing more. And the only way I was getting more was the fans, because God knows there was just no more 13 at that point. 13.2 wasn't confirmed at that point either, so I had, like, no clue about anything. One potion. Hell, I think I wrote Final Fantasy XIII fanfiction at that point. But we're not going to talk about that one. That has been lost to the sands of time. I didn't get too far in it either. Golly, what did I even do in that one? Ah, fuck it. No good is gonna come of trying to remember what came from that. Which way should I go?
Work in order.
Because I want items. But it feels like if I want items, then I should probably go this way. Is that a triangle? Is there a... Yep, there's a map. Best way to find out is to do it. We can always try to go back. Can I rewrite it? No.
This is not our lucky day.
No, that feels like the way to just go forward. Well, I guess I just lost out on whatever items were over there. I think they're all just like potions and shit, so it's fine. Plus, I don't think we're getting any Crystarium points at this point, so fighting just waves of enemies is less than ideal.
Turn ugly?
He wants to kill us without a fight.
Time's up!
Some of the tech in this game is just really cool. I don't know, I like rocket boots. I don't know, I never got into like the Dissidia games because I didn't have a PSP. Or I did have a PSP, except I only had it for like a month before like a friend stole it or something. see. There we go. I thought the game froze for a second. The thing was going a little longer than I thought maybe it should have. But yeah, the numbers are in big yellow. We're dealing way more damage. Stagger's the way to go. There's never a downside to staggering. I think like one or two bosses, like, they'll kind of go into like pissy boss mode after you stagger them. But generally, you can either kill them outright from one stagger, or you can recover pretty easily. Or by the time you do get a stagger, you've already fucked them up so bad that it's really not much of a concern. No, Tidus is a fantastic protagonist. Final Fantasy tends to hit the mark with protagonists more often than
Come on,
not.
soldier. What's your angle?
I guess the only one I'm not wild about is like Noctis. And that's just mostly because I don't care much for what 15 became after Versus 13 got
Military
retitled.
info? Huh? What's the matter? You quit, didn't you? What, did you think I'm gonna go out there and just tell everybody your secrets?
See. My angle. I'm after the Foul Sea.
That's a silly lever.
Still happy you tagged along.
Well, Cloud's better in 7 than he is in like any of the other media.
Didn't have a choice.
Because in 7 he was just kind of a cocky douche, and he was really fun for it. And then they feel like they kind of got Vincent's personality caught up in him. But I feel like also Japan just kind of loves the emo pretty boy. Whoa, terrorism! Boy, these humans do not look as good as I remember. But it is kind of whack going back to like the PS3 era and realizing that like these are things that I thought were photorealistic back then, and now it's like, oh, I can kind of see the cracks.
Migration, more like extermination.
Huge. You stay here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
These people need heroes.
That fucks now.
Here. You keep your cool, and they will too. You got it?
Got it.
How do you hate 7's materia system? That's really fun.
The army's no match for Nora.
That a boy.
I was under the impression that the materia system was like universally beloved. Cool, now we're playing as Snow. So, before I got this game, there are characters called Snow and Hope. And Snow is kind of like this... He's like a 12-year-old boy. No, Hope is. And Snow is this guy. But I thought the little boy was named Snow and that one of the girls was named Hope. I'm sorry, did you say the junction system was easier to understand? I don't disagree necessarily. Like, once I got the hang of the junction system, it was fine, but boy, it took me a long time to get the hang of the junction system. You know, I got most of the way through 8. And by most of the way, I mean, like, golly, how far did I get? The middle of Disc 2 before I actually started junctioning. Up until that point, I got through fights by spamming Shiva. And just Shiva. And then I figured it out. I'm like, oh, like, this game's actually really fun. 12 is really great. But with 12, I go through periods of playing it for like 12 hours a day for a weekend, and then dropping it for a month, or dropping it for a while, and then when I go back I forget what happened, so then I feel the need to restart.
No dirt naps today. We're all in this together.
So I have trouble actually beating 12.
The dreaded SciComm, no less.
What's to dread? SciComm's nothing but a whole bunch of bluster and bullying. They've got nothing on Nora.
Well, we are the heroes after all.
Wasn't there like, I remember there being like some info that LeBro was supposed to be a playable character, like one of the main party. Spoiler, she does not join as a main party member, but I remember there being whisperings of it. It might be in the data.
Nothing to worry about.
Anyway, I like Snow because he just punches enemies and it's really fun. Yeah, 8's an overall blast. 8's good, 12's good, 7's good. I like everything about 9 except playing it.
Got a clear path out of here.
I would watch the hell out of a Final Fantasy 9 anime or movie. Or series. I despise the, I just despise the gameplay. There's so much loading. There's so much, like, you input a command and Zidane's like, cool, I'm gonna wait a year before I actually go through with it. Now our first 4-star.
No more. There are soldiers everywhere.
Yo, boss. What's the plan?
God, these are so,
Charge in,
like
guns blazing.
Hey, that's not a plan.
JRPG designs.
Real heroes don't need plans.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like I would love 9 if I just watched an LP of it, instead of just trying to force myself to play through a game I don't like. But then it has like really cool like gameplay ideas. It's just 15 seconds from getting into the encounter to being able to input your commands. Battles are so slow. It's the same reason I don't get how anyone likes Legend of Dragoon that like played it for the first time after being like 11. I had a way higher tolerance for that kind of stuff, like even back in... When I first played it, it was like 2010. And I had a really high tolerance for that stuff, but even Legend of Dragoon turned me off with how slow it is. Yes, no spoilers, but Snow is, Snow is a Chuny, is the best way I can put it. Snow is the biggest Chuny there is in a place where you cannot reward being a Chuny. He gets better, though. I like Snow's arc. Hey, Yard. I kind of feel the same way about Persona 2, actually. People always hype it up, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of slow. Let me tell you about Valkyrie Profile. I've been trying for years. Not years. It's more like months. I keep emulating it, and then, like, I emulated it on my phone, but then my phone was kind of lagging out with it, so I stopped. Then I tried emulating it on my PC, and then I'm like, I should probably just update my PC before I really try to play this. And I hacked my Vita to be able to like play homebrew and stuff, and I've got Valkyrie Profile sitting on that. But then so many games have been coming out lately that I wanted to play that I haven't gotten around to playing it. But yes, I've played like an hour of Valkyrie Profile, and I thought it was cool. Also, I don't know how people like Persona 1. Way too many randoms, and just... battles are a chore because there's way too many elements to keep track of.
Careful with those.
Haha, he broke my gurney and me clumsy
Don't
fucker.
worry. No one's moving to Pulse today. We'll clear you a path out of here, so be ready
Wait!
to...
Let me fight with you! You can't expect us to just sit here!
Could help.
Yep. Please, let us help!
Okay then. Volunteers front and center.
Like, I don't want to... Like, I feel like Dreamcast is probably an exaggeration for some of the detail in the background characters, but I'm kind of getting a Dreamcasty vibe.
Here's yours. Take care now. Mom? Don't worry. Huh?
Dude, Persona 2 with the gameplay of this, I just want more games with this game's gameplay that isn't Pokemon Masters.
You sure?
Are you saying that just because she's a woman?
Yeah. Moms are tough.
Right.
It's the last one, boss.
All right, last one. Somebody take it.
No,
Yeah.
Women in combat, says Snow.
Push comes to shove. Keep him safe.
He is kind of Waka-ish.
First impression of Snow? All talk.
All right, lay low and you'll be fine. We'll clear out the area. We're going home together!
Come on! Everybody up!
But that was like a big thing with like the PS3 era, is that the cutscenes were getting so long. And it's like, when this game came out and the graphics felt larger than life, like, I thought it was cool, but like, kind of looking at it like
Time to
it's
go,
aged. Not saying I dislike it, but I'm saying it's lost a lot of the spectacle, and it's probably going to drag the game a bit. He's Waka with a weapon that actually makes sense.
Psychom, you hear me?
I swear that is an iron dongle. Like, a dongle's an actual thing, but... By the way, you can't equip these two. But Snow's already really high on HP, so it's not like he needs it. But that's Snow's role. He's kind of the tanky character.
Don't want to make their job any...
And he's honestly one of 2 characters that I never end up using. There's 6 playable characters in the game, and Snow and Saz are the ones that I end up just excluding from all of my teams. Just because when push comes to shove during post-game and whatnot, they're lesser. Because it's like, Saz has the slowest casting speed of any character, and Snow's... I think Snow is actually the fastest casting speed of any character, but... he doesn't really get any good skills to make up for it. He's a really good tank, but towards the end of the game, tanking isn't what you want to do. Because anyone can tank, and being the best tank in a situation where everyone's a really good tank is kind of like saying, hey, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, but I'm 0.1% faster. I'm 0.1% faster, but I can do everything else that he does worse. Is the best way I can put Snow. The final boss? No, the final boss isn't all that. It's long if you don't know what to... No, the final boss has a one bullshit attack of, it's like... we're not gonna worry about it right now. It's bullshit, though. There are ways to mitigate it, but it's just the final boss is long as fuck if you aren't prepared. Basically, don't be like me and spam the turtling methods, because turtling might mean you're surviving, but it also means you're in combat longer, and the longer you're in combat, the longer you have a chance to fuck something up. Yeah, once magic comes into the game, Snow will, like... When it comes to casting magic, not attacking, when it comes to just casting magic, he'll like unload a full like 6 ATB bar charge in like the time it takes Saz like to cast 2 spells probably. But the only issue is his stats don't really back it up, so it's really no good. There's no real useful scenario where you need Snow's like lightning quick casting speed, and that's the only real downside. In fact, it's actually better in certain cases to have a slower casting speed, because one strategy for a certain boss later on actually relies on the fact that Saz's casting speed and Lightning's physical attack speed are almost identical. So you can time like one skill that like debuffs them but for one attack. And it's pretty cool, but it's also kind of gimmicky. You don't really need it. There are a lot of really fun, cool strats in this game, so it's really obnoxious when people are like, oh yeah, all you do is hit X. Which is like, yeah, you do that in the tutorial like any RPG does. When was the last time you, like, played Final Fantasy VII and unironically just casted ice on everything? When you have limited MP and your physical attack is doing just as well. Of course not, you're fucking hitting X all the time. Like, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect game, like, I get some complaints, but I feel like the complaints that most people make aren't valid.
No kidding. Stay down.
Whoa, he's cool. Oh, good job, idiot. Oh, that seems like a little bit of overkill. Oh, damn, she did it.
I told you, didn't I? Moms are tough.
Remember, viewers, if your mom isn't shooting RPGs on the reg, then she ain't a real mom. Did I play the sequels to this? I mentioned on earlier, I don't like 13. 13-2 is my least favorite Final Fantasy, and 13-3 is just kind of stressful. I told you, didn't I? Moms are snuff. Well, it wasn't just a gun, it was an RPG. Damn, ragdoll, the poor woman.
Get him home. Please.
Hold on!
Splat. Well, I don't know. Those people were destined to die anyway. Snow at least gave them a fighting chance. Never mind. Snow was entirely justified. Never mind. His arc is fine.
Come on. We have to move.
Right.
Snow did the absolute best he could and fucked up like anyone could have done. Yeah, F's in the chat, boys. Moms are snuff. I can't remember if this is chapter 2 already or not. There's 13 chapters in the game, by the way. I get it. Fitting. 15. Or 13, rather. Shit, I'm stupid.
It's an out-and-out massacre. Those people won't even live long enough to die on Pulse.
That was the idea.
What?
Sanctum logic. They conjured up the purge to eliminate a threat. I mean, why carry the danger all the way to Pulse? Why not just stamp it out here? Execution masquerading as exile. That's all the purge ever was.
I mean, would you trust anything the
Relocation of
government
Pulse.
put forth called the
How does the government get
purge?
away with pulling crap like that? And you knew this was gonna happen?
The purge was PSICOM. Private Sanctum troops, not the Guardian Corps.
PSICOM, Guardian Corps. Soldiers are soldiers, aren't they?
Yeah, the U.S. Marines are totally the Navy.
Fal'Cie and their lessee are enemies of the state. Tell a soldier to kill an enemy, and you really think it's gonna matter what uniform he's wearing?
Might have mattered to that one. Couldn't shoot. Got himself shot instead.
How about you? Orders say shoot, you pull the trigger? Fine. Forget I asked.
She was clearly trying to.
Wait. What?
The higgity hell's this? A Myrmidon, huh? Is this my first time ever seeing the word Myrmidon? I must have forgotten about it, because the first time I really remember was, Fire Emblem Awakening. Guys actually hit the... Okay, potion! Ooh, just in time! That was like a frame too late, almost. I was about to say, he was bullying the fuck out of Saz. But yeah, this is what I mean by, like, sometimes by the time you actually get the stagger bar up, their HP is so low that one stagger generally tends to be enough. Have there been any RPGs lately that have tried a stagger system out? Because I feel like there was, like, one recently, like some indie game. Yeah, I was gonna bring up the whole, like, Fal'Cie and, Fal'Cie and Lassie thing. They don't bring it up. They explain it later, which I guess I feel like the logic was, oh, it's a mystery right now and you'll get to find out, but a little bit of explanation up, because they really do just throw you into the thick of it. But, like, this is, like, the starting of it. Like, into the thick of it's fine when it's, like, an in media res thing and you go back and be like, this was it, like 5 days earlier, or something like that. Octopath. Oh yeah. All right. Well, has there been a game that's had the stagger mechanic that was actually good recently?
Just what you were looking for.
Yeah. Right in there.
The post-Fal'Cie.
I just like more games with the Final Fantasy XIII battle system. You see, I thought this guy was going to be named Snow. Tell me that Hope here looks like he would be named Snow. Here, shoot them. Take a life.
It's too much.
Yeah, most of the fan fictions I looked up were between these two. Like, not smut or anything, I just want a cheesy romance.
Ciao!
Hey, wait!
You said it made you happy when I smiled, didn't you? But really, I was afraid. I was always afraid.
I like the idea of Vanille as a narrator, but I also feel like it's a little too early to introduce her as one. Like, 1 or 2 more scenes with her, and then I probably would have accepted that.
So, how do you figure that post-Falsi is different from the Sanctums? All things being equal, I just as soon keep one.
But Frokubo is absolutely the best character, and Saz
Time to
clearly
jump.
agrees.
Yeah, I know. Hey! Hey! Hang on! What the? Hey!
Splat. Wait, wasn't that broken earlier? How'd she fix it?
Damn. She can do it, so can we.
It's not gonna help, Saz. I was about to say, it feels like the big ship in this series is Lightning X Hope.
Come on, come on.
Jesus Christ. Just beat the fuck out of Waka, huh? Hey, brother.
What about the others? They didn't die. They couldn't have died. Of course not. Hey, get a grip, man! What's wrong with you? Get him home. Get who home?
Uh-oh. It also just doesn't feel like a place that people could live.
Catch.
And usually Final Fantasy's pretty good about that.
What are you doing? So what are you afraid of, huh? You're supposed to be the hero. She's waiting there, ain't she? Your lovely bride-to-be? Isn't it about time you picked her up?
Was there a bad popping noise?
Yeah.
Is my mic fucking up?
There's our ride. Now you're talking.
Oh, okay. Got worried for a second. No, because I think my mic fucked up the other day, and I got really nervous about it because I'm kind of sick of replacing mics.
I hope everyone's alright.
So ideally, the fewer mics I have to replace. What the fuck is a power circle? Oh, it's for me. Amps our strength way the fuck up. It drops our magic really far down too. But it's not like we're using magic, so whatever. Hell, and even... I'll explain magic when it becomes pertinent. I was back popping when he got up. Yeah, I can't hear the game that well. Because if I wanted to get the TV's audio to a point where I could hear it, we'd be getting really bad feedback on the mic, and that would be no good. It's beautiful, isn't it? Just a hand grenade and then Pantheron is no more. EA back. It's in the... Wait, shit. EA Sports is in the back, or whatever. Hey, Godot, you want to maybe do something? Now, if you notice, it's Snow's weapons are actually the glyph on his on the back of his jacket. You see, it's like Final Fantasy X too. Your clothes are what make the man. stats can get really ridiculous in this game. And then ultimately, it's like stats stop kind of mattering just because the stagger benefit is better, and you get like ludicrous super moves. And the super moves like suck unless the enemy is staggered. So that's the kind of thing you get to expect. It's like Snow has like a super move that like takes all the ATB bars he has. And then if you just try to spam it, it's useless. But then if you use it when they're staggered, it's like, okay, cool. You just took a huge chunk off of the super boss's HP.
All right, on my go.
Right. Go!
Yeah, let me just scream and give away my position. Before I even start shooting, might I add. Imagine punching someone so hard that they just disintegrate. Oh, peace out, Duggo. Hope you had fun. See, look at that. Also, the higher the stagger bar is in general, like, they don't even have to be staggered for just the higher the stagger bar is, the more damage you're going to be doing to them. And it really helps, because, like, some bosses, like, it's mostly super bosses, or just really strong enemies, that have, like, the stagger bar caps out at, like, 999. And, you know, you're never going to hit that. But the whole trick of it is you want to get that stagger bar up as high as possible, just because dealing damage is just going to be way better at that point.
Hey, Godot.
Yeah?
If you don't know who you've got to save, you just protect them all, right?
Shooty!
Something on your mind? You got plenty of time for thinking on the way, hero.
He is the protagonist.
Yeah.
What if it was EA Sporks in the game?
Ready! Go!
Like, how do you see out of that? Is there like an instrument that kind of like, it's like a video camera on the front? I don't know. Those kind of like super like futuristic looking motorcycles, and like a lot of like Star Wars is kind of designed for that kind of stuff. Always just looked fucking stupid.
Hey, it's us. It's us. Don't shoot. Snow.
And I feel like the last EA game I played in general was well, it's probably like Prototype or something. But it was like a Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on PS2. But I also had a Game Boy Advance, and that was like a way better RPG. It was like an action RPG, because the Game Boy Color one was a turn-by-turn RPG.
I think I'm done. You're done when we are. Ow, what? That's the one.
Didn't you have something to tell him?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not gonna.
Okay, then.
but
I'll go with you.
what? You
Oh, peace out, Yarn.
idea what it was like.
Wait, Wi-Fi's fucking up for everyone today.
Everyone safe?
The army's no match for Nora.
I meant the kids.
Oh, that is the fucking cringe.
All accounted for.
Okay.
I don't like the cringe. I don't want to be playing cringy in my JRPGs.
Go on, Vanille, keep pushing him. Go away, children. I've got a cool motorcycle to play with.
Trouble?
You got it. Say hi to the missus for me. You go skirt chasing, I take care of the kids. Some husband.
Dinner's on me.
Better be home cooking.
When's the wedding, lover boy?
Don't worry, none of you are invited. We're still going.
Though I actually like that one a lot, because it's like...
Catch you later.
It's good, like, dialogue with friends. I don't feel like a lot of games really catch that as well as that scene really does. And now we're playing as Hope.
Oh, look, he is so fucking cute, and she is a woman.
We actually see what their abilities are. Attack, wonderful. Attack, wonderful.
We'll get you all some.
The Vanille's weapon is fucking stupid. I never really quite got how it was supposed to function.
Psychom's nothing.
Plus, you can't actually talk to any of these guys, but you can, like, see what they, say on the bottom of the screen. Also, there's no item here. I don't know why they let me run so far.
This to Nora. Stop running around, kid.
You can't stop me, I am epic.
They really do just kind of inundate you with save points, huh? Alright, what's up? Card games on motorcycles ahoy.
You okay?
I want to tell him. It's just that...
Hope you're about to get in trouble.
Say, you know how to fly this?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. In you go.
Alright, fuck off.
That way.
You had a 15-year-old me, like, this is like, yep, this is true love, this is romance. This is, I have to read 1,000 fan
It
fictions
can
about
make
this.
us Lassie. This is... I don't think I can...
You can do it.
What are you two doing?
Yeah, uh-oh.
Here we go!
Well, it is kind of similar to that, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Get back here! You hear me? Hey!
How old is Vanille? I think Vanille's 18.
The pulse fell sea. It held our future.
I think the guidebook for this game actually gives the characters' ages. I can look that up real quick. Or the guidebook. This is like one of the last like HD games I remember that actually came with a manual inside. So I can actually open up the enclosed instruction book. Saving after a small cutscene that you can also skip. Damn it. No, we're still in chapter 1. I thought it was chapter 2 by now. Let's see. Is it up? I thought it said in here, but I guess it doesn't. It's weird. Could have sworn I remembered it. But I must be remembering wrong. Hope is 14. Well, at least that makes sense.
Well then.
Hope looks 14. Boy, it's kind of nuts that I kind of have to go to the bathroom and I could just set this down in a cutscene.
Guess it's just us.
What did you expect?
It's just us, better flash this gang sign.
Even soldiers know not to go near the foul sea. You become a pulse Lassie, and you're finished.
What do you mean, finished?
Haven't you heard, Miss...
Vanille.
Huh?
My name. And yours?
Hope.
My name's Hope, but I'm gonna be Mope today.
Thank you. What were we thinking?
Well, since we're here,
Let's look around.
No. I remember there was going to be like a DLC for this game that was going to be like a new dungeon, and then it never came to be.
Oh, check this out.
So I wonder if it got
Hey!
repurposed into 13.2 where
Vanille,
Lightning Returns.
where are you?
Well,
That's...
Wow, Vanille, you sure are cringe. So saith Hope, because he's 14 years old and enjoys Fortnite and uses cringe unironically. Good thing I had this hidden on my person.
you're gonna regret this.
Oh, we're controlling Vanille here. I always thought this weapon looked stupid. But fortunately, later in the game when you control Vanille, she's more of a magic caster, so... But she has 3 ATB bars. Plus each individual one fills up faster when you have more bars in general. Ooh, we got black and white outfitters.
Okay, back to exploring.
Better stay close.
I don't know, I only tend to use Vanille as the party leader for early post-game farming. I'm not gonna get too much into detail about that, but she's useful to a point, I feel. Anyway, you want to grind the monsters around here because they have an incredibly high drop rate for shrouds, which are like buffs that you can apply before or after. Not before or after. Before a fight to give yourselves things like protect, shell, and all that, haste. And they're incredibly rare or expensive otherwise. So farm them up here, because they're very useful, especially early on. I mean, Squall's Gunblade, like, even in explanation, just straight up doesn't work. It's like, you pull the revolver, and then it makes the blade vibrate, which does more damage, but if you did that in real life, you just break your wrists. But it's kind of like a similar thing with, like, Noctis's engine blade. It's just a car engine strapped to a sword. All I'm saying is, it's an RPG, therefore the rule of cool. I forgot about preemptive strikes. See, look at that, we totally annihilated them with the good old preemptive strike that I forgot existed. Battle duration, like 6 seconds. Yeah, see, we've got Deceptisol, which, when we apply a good dose of Deceptisol on, we can get a preemptive strike on anything. To an extent. It doesn't work on bosses, and I don't think it works on... There's just like certain enemies that it doesn't work on. Just run right past me. Well, I mean, everyone's ultimate weapon is... Actually, I think when it comes to just upgrading, it's cheapest to get Light's ultimate weapon. I think Vanille's is actually relatively expensive. Or rather, it's... to get all of them for the treasure hunter, that's what I'm thinking of. Or the best thing about Vanille's ultimate skill is that even if the instant death doesn't proc, it can still hit the broken damage cap. Deceptisol, huh? Give me some Fortisol or Aegisol, please. Give me that good, you know? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. See, look, they didn't react, so I can fuck them up. Pink! Seems kind of, like, dumb for, like, the scan droid enemy to have the most narrow field of vision. If your entire purpose is to be a droid that scans, why are you so bad at scanning? Or are you just scanning computer things? Okay, another iron bangle, not bad, not bad. She could definitely use it.
Where is he?
Also, I don't quite remember if or when enemies will, like, respawn, so I don't actually know if farming is a thing I can do here. But I think I'm hitting some pretty bad drop rates if all I'm getting is Deceptisol. Well, 13 is just my favorite because A, I like the battle system a lot. It's boring right now just because all we have is the option to attack, but once we have more options, pretty great. I kind of like my game telling me where to go. I don't care much for the, oh, it's so open-ended, you can really make the game your experience. I'm like, my man, it's your game, tell me what to do. Like, don't just give me a laundry list of, like, options to check off. Like, give me a linear experience that, like, you worked on. I don't know, I just hate open world games so much. And this is such, like, a narrow, like, not at all open world. So, I love it. Well, then plus, and then I just love the lore of the world itself. Like, 13 hits a lot of really good notes for me.
Aren't you scared?
Not so much.
You really don't get it.
But as far as, like, other, like, Final Fantasies I love, I'd probably put Tactics on par with this.
Falsey and Lissy are bad news. That's why Cocoon kicked them out. Live too close to the Falsey, one-way ticket to Pulse. That's the purge in a nutshell.
If they catch us here, they'll purge us too. And
What's
then...
your problem?
What's my... Pulse is hell on Earth.
Earth, huh?
We'll be okay. Calm down.
Get off me.
Sarah? Can you hear me? Where are you?
Yeah, 15 just sucks. And it sucks, because I was really, really excited for 15. Well, no, I was really excited for Versus 13. And then, you know,
Don't worry, Sarah.
everything from 2013 and
Your
earlier
hero
just got
is on his
completely
way.
scrapped to whatever 15 ended up being. 15 just feels like the blandest, most focus-tested shit in the world. The narrative that isn't
What that's
complete
for.
doesn't make sense. It's like they introduce a character, then never mention him again, and then you're supposed to feel bad when it turns out he got turned into some not Lassie thing. And then it's like, okay, cool, you have to watch Kingsglaive and Brotherhood before you can really understand it. But then Brotherhood is actually interesting, then you get into 15 and nothing in Brotherhood is mentioned. Hell, nothing in Kingsglaive is really mentioned except, oh hey, if you look up at the top of this thing, you can see Nyx end up in a cocoon. Isn't that something? And then it's like, okay, cool, just hold down the circle button and watch the pretty gameplay go by. So ultimately, it's less involved than 13. Like, even, like, endgame Final Fantasy 15 combat is about as deep as what we're doing in 13 right now.
Bring it on!
So ultimately, just fuck 15. Oh, that was the game I was willing to buy a PS4 for, and I'm really glad that I got. Well, Sage just sent me his, like, because he got a Pro, and he's like, "Yo, man, you just want my old PS4?" I'm like, "Yes." And then it was like, I think he already pre-ordered 13 or 15, and then Square sent him a review code or something. He was like, "You want the review code?" I'm like, "Yes." So ultimately, I paid nothing for 15, and I still feel like I got ripped off. I see you can actually kind of whiff your attacks like that too if the enemies hop out of the way.
No problem.
Did his voice just double up, kind of? Like, it had like an echo to it? Brad, I don't know what that means.
Am I gonna have to ban you, Brad?
Activate!
Just hold on, Sarah.
This whole section kind of reminds me of the last level in Crash Twinsanity. Oh, there's that famous PS3 era bloom. Remember when all games were just so, like, riddled with bloom? Remember when Wind Waker HD, all they did was crank up the bloom and then charge you $60 for it again? I didn't like Wind Waker much to begin with, but... Anyway, while this cutscene goes on, I have to hit the bathroom real quick.
Still won't budge? I think the door is winning.
Why didn't I listen?
Beg your pardon?
It was me. This is my fault.
Beg your pardon?
Cover your ears.
Huh? Oh, blast charge? Oh, wait, hold on. All right, hold up. All right, go for it! Make it happen!
I'm so sorry. Please let me in. Please?
See, it's great because you guys can stay entertained. I can hit the bathroom and wash my hands and dry them. And technically,
How'd you open
you've
it?
missed nothing.
After you.
What romance between Noctis and Luna? Remember when we could have had Noctis and Stella? Remember when that was going to be the big thing? Where it was going to be like an actually tragic love story instead of two people that never meet? Oh, is this when we get the shrouds? I am not using a Decepticell right now. I'm saving the fuck out of those. Hey, didn't like Wind Waker like fix the Triforce quest or whatever? The Triforce quest that I didn't actually think was all that busted. Well, did they fix the cash grinding aspect, or just the fact that when you got close to the Triforce pieces that like the light just vanished like half a mile away? Because if they fixed the money grinding part, then hell yeah, that's nice. But ultimately, I think HD just looks uglier than standard. It's like cranking up the bloom does not make a game look pretty. Did we not learn that lesson in 2006? Okay, well that's good then. I don't know, Wind Waker was a one and done for me in general. Like, I had a lot of fun with it the first time I played it, and then every time I think about going back, it's like, why? Why would I ever choose to go back and play Wind Waker more than once? And no, it's weird because like I go back to Twilight Princess any day of the week, and I know objectively that is a much slower start and a much drearier art style than I'm blasting Wind Waker HD for. But I can admit that I'm biased because Twilight Princess was my first Zelda I actually got into. Because I think I've told this story before actually. My aunt's ex, though he was the husband at the time, he had like a lot of like cool video games because he was super into them. And him and my aunt would play it a lot together, and I don't remember like what the context was, but somehow he's just like, yeah, oh, you never played Zelda? Here, I got Twilight Princess. I'm gonna let you borrow it, and this strategy guide just in case you get stuck. So the next time you come up, just bring it back. When you beat it, bring it back. I'm like, okay. And I didn't touch it for like a month, and then one day I like start getting like really into it. And then I think just that month, like all I did in my spare time was just play Zelda. I think that was, I think Obama actually got elected during that whole like experience. Like we got to stay home from school. No. It was we got to stay home from school because the voting for. Well, no, then it must have been because the voting was that day that I got to stay home from school. So Obama probably got elected and sworn into office while I was playing Twilight Princess at one point. And I loved it, and I kind of wish I didn't give it back to him because the GameCube copy of Twilight Princess is kind of expensive to get back. And I know, I'm not gonna say I know for a fact because that's slander or libel. I can say with 99% certainty that he most likely sold it for pills. And now I really wish that I didn't give it back to him because I know I could appreciate it, and he just sold it for shit that's destroying him. Anyway, he's not a part of the fam anymore, so we don't worry about him. If you're watching, man, it's really fucking sucked. Oh fuck, we need to kill this thing or I need to heal. You see, it's fine when it like does that to Saz, but when it's to me, it's like, hey, I can get a game over. You better watch that. But then, like after Twilight Princess, like I didn't think I was gonna like get really like nutso into like any other Zelda game. But you know what it was? I went to like a Borders Books, and like I went to the manga section like I did just because I liked reading manga a lot as a kid.
No one noticed this thing for all these years.
And there was a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time manga. And I'm like, okay, like I'm willing to read that. And like a lot of it's just like non-canon extras. It's like Ganondorf was like talking to like one of his like Stalfos minions, and he's like, Stalord, what's going on here? And I'm like, Stalord, that's from Twilight Princess. And it was at that moment that I got, like later that day, I asked my dad to get me like a Wii Points card, and I got Ocarina of Time later. Like that manga's like technically what got me like, Twilight Princess is the first Zelda game I beat, but the Ocarina of Time manga is what got me into Zelda. And I don't know how many people can say that. Oh god, they're being fought together. So my favorite Link design? I just really like Twilight Princesses, partially for nostalgia and then partially just because I think it's kind of a dope design. But then I also like Breath of the Wilds a lot. Also a big fan of the oracles, like their art design. Yeah, the potions are the best we're gonna get until we get curative spells, but the potions are still gonna like hold their own for a long time. Just because they're like instant heals, and especially like early on, they're gonna do a lot better than curative spells. Actually, I can't think about, you know what design for Link I unironically adore? The CDI Link. Like, I just unironically adore the CDI Zeldas. They're absolutely, like, awful to play, but I feel like there's a glimmer of a good game in there that if they just had bigger budgets, they would have been fine.
Except they probably
And they were, like, on the Super Nintendo.
Huh? Not even human anymore. Just postlessy. Enemy's a cocoon. Can't show him any mercy.
But I think there's the glimmer of a good game in the CDI Zeldas.
There's the next one.
I didn't do any real CDI streams. It was just the Clover things where I just played all the cutscenes for the CDI games. But then I just love the cutscenes. I think they're unironically adorable. They're so, like, they're charming as fuck. Like, I just think the CDI games are super charming. And I'd love for someone to, like, go back and take a whack at them. Because they're just, they're just a worse playing version of Zelda 2. And people love Zelda 2 nowadays.
No problem.
And don't get me wrong, they suck. Like, they're objectively terrible. But I feel like if someone, like, went back and, like, really tried to, like, amp them up a bit, you know? I think there's a good game sitting in there. I remember I heard Way Forward wanted to take a whack at remaking Zelda 2, and I would love that. Or was it Way Forward? No, Inti Creates, not Way Forward. Same guys who did Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. And Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is fantastic.
Hang on, baby. Your hero's on the way.
How does he know that? He doesn't know where that's going.
Hang on, baby. Your hero's on the way.
Plus the King's voice actor in the CDI games are just unironically amazing. He gave such a good delivery, given what he had.
He is here. Calling himself a hero.
He's coming our way.
What should I do?
Tell him what you need to.
But nothing I say will change what happened.
We could just run away.
Alright. Fuck it, we came here and risked our lives. I guess we could just split now that we're so close to getting what we wanted. Oh, you can take the opportunity to see if we can't get more shrouds going.
No daydreaming now.
See, I was unironically, I say unironically a lot when it comes to bad games, huh? I was unironically excited for the, that Bubsy game that dropped in, like, 2017 or whatever. Because I figured, why would you bring back Bubsy in 2017, like, if you weren't going to put, like, a lot of love into it? And then it comes out and it's like, okay, yeah, no, they were really just cashing in on the ironic fandom that had built up for people blasting Bubsy 3D for all these years. So I almost dropped $30 on it at launch. The only reason I didn't was because I did not have $30 at launch to spend. Hell, I think the Pokemon, the I Choose You movie was going to come out in a limited release for one day at the theater I was near. And I really, ooh, I got a Fortisol, nice. And I really wanted to see that. And I didn't have the money for a ticket at that point either. So of course I couldn't be dropping it on Bubsy. And then like I saw like an LP of it where everyone's like, yeah, this game is just absolutely terrible. And I don't know why I was so upset that a Bubsy game was bad. But I am curious, because didn't, like, the new Bubsy game drop where it's, like, Paws on Fire or something? So they tried it again. So... But this one, like, I haven't even seen, like, any, like, ironic discussion about, like, no one cared when it dropped. So, like, are they trying to make Bubsy, like, an actual thing, or... clearly not working. Like, it's always just been a joke, but it's like, how far can you take a joke, you know? So I don't know. I've got no clue. God, more Decepticels, huh? At least you're gonna be good on those. I don't know, because for the harder fights in general, the shrouds don't really matter all that much. They're just kind of gonna matter a little more earlier on. Like, I'm not gonna be afraid to burn all the shrouds I have really early on. It's like one or two bosses I know I'm gonna want to use it, because I remember them being difficult. But then, like, later bosses, it's like, fights last too long for the shrouds to be used. Either fights last too long, or you're doing such a good job of applying those buffs yourself that it just doesn't matter. Well, yeah, but, like, people, like, were discussing Bubsy at one point when they were just like, oh yeah, it's the brand new Bubsy game! I don't know, I'm thinking way too hard about Bubsy. No, I haven't ended up picking up any King of Fighters games. I looked up a lot of gameplay of it, and then it's like, you know what? I'm sure the story is going to be cool. I've heard that the King of Fighters stuff has really good story in general, but... or Fatal Fury or whatnot. But then ultimately they're still fighters, and that's just going to be me spending $8 on a story that's going to be passable, but I'm not going to have fun playing. What have I been playing recently? When the Super Nintendo console, Super Nintendo on Switch dropped, you know what I've been playing the most? F-Zero. F-Zero is so much fun. I think I've just been fiending for a racing game really badly. Because, like, all I did, like, all the gaming I did today that wasn't this, I was working on Rose Gold Heart earlier, and then I played F-Zero for a bunch of times, for like a couple hours, and then this. It's just like, I know I'm not gonna like a fighting game. I've played... How many have I bought at this point? I bought Persona 4 Arena. I bought JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle. But I bought that one just because I could say, hey, I've got a JoJo game. That one wasn't because I was fiending for a fighting game. That one was just pure fan service. Which F-Zero? It's the one that comes on the Switch Virtual Console. It's literally the first one. But I feel like I would appreciate X a lot more right now, too. And GX isn't actually all that expensive, is it? Like, some GameCube games go really pricey. But I feel like F-Zero GX, like, isn't one of them. But I also haven't really looked, because I heard F-Zero GX is just really hard, and... I don't know, I don't want to get mad playing a video game. I remember wanting to buy it a lot when my local GameStop still sold GameCube games, but I just didn't. Hell, I think the last GameCube game that I saw in my GameStop, because it was in like 2012, because that was when I started driving, and it was around the time that they were kind of getting rid of their PS2, Xbox, and GameCube selections. And I remember the last GameCube game I ever really looked at was Tales of Symphonia. And I think like 2 years later, there was like the HD like collection for it on PS3, which I bought at full price. And then a month later, it went down to $10. And I also realized that I just don't like Tales of Symphonia. I think the only Tales games I like are the handheld ones. Look at these shuffling little bastards.
What are they?
See, Lucy, you failed. This is what happens when Lucy don't complete the focus the Fal'Cie gave him.
They are screaming.
What was that?
Let's even these odds.
2250. Yeah, 20 for a GameCube game. 2250 is not half bad. It is a goal. Hey, hey.
How about this?
I really liked the roaring sounds these guys are making. And a tear of frustration. Why are you so mad?
How did you get in here?
Because Tales of the Abyss
gotta
3D was it was so good, it blew my mind. And then another one I really liked was
Okay, listen.
Hearts
Find
R on the
someplace to
Vita.
hide and keep
Really
quiet.
wish we got
Once
Innocence
I
R,
find
but I know
Sarah,
Hearts R probably
we'll
sold
all
like
eat
shit.
together. You'll be home in time for dinner.
You...
Wait! Who's Sarah?
My wife. Future wife, that is. She's a pulse lessee.
No.
She's here somewhere, along with that Fal'Cie. I gotta find her and set her free.
What's wrong with you? Why do you want to help a Lassie? They're the enemy.
Huh?
How can you save a Lassie? You're not... That's insane!
Probably. But I gotta do something, right? I'll be back.
He hurt his
Should we
kneecaps.
wait around for him and hitch a ride?
I'd rather go to Pulse. Why is this happening to me? When they found the Fal'Cie the other day, we were just visiting Bodum. But the army took us, threw us on that train. Because of that guy, Mom is...
Probably shouldn't leave them alone.
And he wants to help a Lassie?
Hey again.
Hey. Let's go with him. You gotta talk to him, Hope. If you don't take this chance, you'll regret it forever.
I think it's their eyes that are a little weird.
Okay.
They feel a little,
Let's go.
I don't know. Is it their eyes are too realistic and their skin is like a wax figure, or the other way around? Something feels off about their faces.
What's gotten into you, soldier? Thought you came for a fight.
Wait, Hearts R sold 75,000 in the U.S.?
Your sister.
Or just the West?
She's a Lassie.
That's way more than I expected. I thought that was going to be like
Post Lassie?
5,000.
The Fal'Cie has her captive, but I'll find her.
Is she still... Hey, what was her focus?
Gotta turn the fan on.
When she became a Lassie, what did the Fal'Cie order her to do? It wasn't blow up Cocoon or anything like that, was it?
I didn't ask.
Ah.
Listen to me.
Well, I mean, that makes sense for like a
When person gets
14-year-old
cursed by a
boy.
Fal'Cie,
Like,
they
of course he's
become
gonna
a
act
Lassie,
tough, like,
and they get given a
and then,
focus,
like,
right?
I don't know. I feel like Hope is pretty well realistically written. A 14-year-old in this kind of
If they don't carry it
situation
out,
would not be
you'll
acting
see
in
end
his
up as
right
one of
mind.
those things.
And communication is not the strong suit of a teenage boy going
What I'm
through puberty.
saying is, if your sister's gone that far, I mean, she might still. How can I? Oh man.
The really
There's
lack
no
of
way to
communication
turn a
kind of
Lassie
explains a
back into
lot
a
of like the
human.
plot problems in this game.
Even if she completes her focus, there's no changing her fate. She'll live her life as a Fal'Cie slave. Don't make her suffer.
Just say it! Any Lassie, anyone who might ever become a Lassie should be wiped off the face of Cocoon. It's people like you that started the purge in the first place.
Racism allegory. Yeah, I figure if the sales records can't be found in the US, there probably just aren't sales records. But they had no, like, faith into Hearts R going in. Like, it didn't get a dub. Yet for some reason they changed one of the characters' names in the sub. But it's like, I think his name was Shing, and they changed his name to Core. But then, like, all the dialogue is like, oh, Shingu, Shingu! And then, so no dub. All just translation. They sold the game for $30. Just, that's like 10 lower than the usual 40 that Vita games went for. Ooh, that's some juice on you, Saz. Yeah, so let's juice Saz up for right now. We gotta get our boys nice and beefy. I don't think there's treasure over there. I should be checking the guide. Oh yeah, it really is just a similar thing for JoJo. Though I don't know. The Vita in general, like, I'm surprised at how bad that went. Let me check to make sure I'm not, like, going too far. Where am I? Oh, this is chapter 2. Okay. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing, because I have a guide open to see what I could be missing. And I'm not missing the thing that I know I missed before, so I'm happy. I mean, did XIII make Tales popular in the West? I don't remember there being a ton of hype for it. I thought Vesperia or Abyss might have done that. All I remember about XIII is that I didn't like it. Like, even just as far as Abyss ruining the series for me just because it was so good, I just straight up don't like XIII. I just didn't know. I've never heard anyone really popularly talk about it. XIII 2 I heard a lot of discussion about, but XIII 1 I heard, like, next to nothing about. I've never heard of anyone who's beaten it, even among my friends who enjoy the Tales series. It seems like one of those games that everyone buys, gets like 20 hours into, sets it down for something else, and forgets to pick back up ever. Yeah, Symphonia is the one I always hear about being like the most like beloved in the West. Even though, again, personally, I prefer Abyss. And then I know, is there still an enemy here? I wonder why that one didn't get procced. What's the one I'm thinking of? Berseria. I know a lot of people got into Berseria. And then, like, I heard discussion of Zestiria about there being, like, some kind of, like, controversy with it. Alongside it just not being that good. But then everyone I know, like, really enjoyed, Berseria. And then a lot of people got hyped about Vesperia. That one almost going entirely off word of mouth after that one tweet where it's like, hey, people that want localizations, we hear you. Someone's like, what about Vesperia for the PS3? And they're like, yeah, not that one. I remember that day, because that same day that tweet was made was the day water was found on Mars. Or I might actually be confused about that. See, because at that point in my life, I was at Towson, and there was a certain, in the media center, there's a certain couch I like to sit on. And I would read the newspaper, because one of my classes had me needing to read the newspaper. and then water on Mars is like the big thing in that one, and then I might just be getting it confused, but I think that was the same day that Namco was like, yeah, not that one. But it might have just been a very similar day, because a lot of those days kind of bled together. Semester was... Yeah, see, this is what I mean by, like, that backflip. I just backflipped out of the range of his like, arm swipe. And yet, they're all that, like, me wanting the Vesperia thing. Like, I still haven't bought Vesperia. I keep waiting for it to hit, like, 20, because I know Tales games hit 20 so quickly. Whatever, it's not like I've been, like, hurting for games, either. It's not like I need to play Vesperia right now. Little dudes. Beep. I like that the ending is loading so quickly that like Saz doesn't get to finish his post-battle animation. Yeah, the weirdest things stick in my memory, because ultimately that was I don't even want to say a positive point in my life. 2015, that fall semester was kind of a fucking... Well, no, because the issue was, it was a really bad point in a really bad relationship. Well, it started out really good, but 2015 is when it became a not-so-fun thing to be part of. And especially at that point, it was just getting more and more toxic. So I remember any like positive beat I had at that point in my life, I tended to cling really hard onto. I said hard on. Like speaking of, boy, Xillia sold that much. It was like at one point like where we separated at one point, and I was like, cool. I remembered saying at that point, because RuneScape had just gone like free to play again, old school RuneScape. And I'm like, you know what, if me and her ever split, I'm just going to spend like a month on old school RuneScape. And we did for a little bit, and it was like cool. And I just got so into RuneScape. I would use like my meal points to like buy a bunch of like soda and like chocolate. And I would just sit there and play RuneScape all day. It was really fun. It was really quiet, and it was nice because it was being fucking abusive. Anyway. I try not to talk about that relationship anymore, because I don't know what good comes of it. It's done, it's over with, it's been over with for, almost 3 years now. Oh boy, fire hurts. Comic Fire 2019. Okay, I'm gonna die. Thank God they give you so many potions. You know, it's night and day. Much better relationship. No, it's great. Not having to worry about what's gonna set off the next wave of emotional and or physical torment, you know. I'm getting, this is too fucking depressing. Moving on.
I want to run to invisible walls.
Why not just have one long staircase there? What was the point of having like an elevator there? Was that really just rule of cool, or?
Time to go. We have to leave before the army. What?
That's a Pulse brand. That girl's a Lassie.
I already told you that.
Pulse Lassie are the enemies.
Oh damn, we gonna shoot a girl.
So they should die?
Listen, if she fails her focus, you know how that'll end.
And killing her is a mercy?
It's a giant fucking hand. And that hand was like the size of her head. Boy, Berseria, those sales figures are really, like, shocking me. Oh, look at that. The 5 of us have come together.
Let's get you out of here.
Hands off. I'm taking her home.
Sis,
I'm not your sister. You couldn't protect her. It's your fault she can save us. Sarah? You can save us.
I like Sarah's skirt. It's a very cute skirt.
Save Cocoon. Save Cocoon? Sarah? That was your focus?
anything. I'll do anything. Leave it to me, you'll see. I'll protect Cocoon. I'll save everyone.
Somehow. I'll make things right.
You just relax.
Wait, Hearts R sold 110,000 in the US? That's bullshit. There's no way. That cannot be true.
Sarah!
110 or 1,000, I'll believe. But there's no way Hearts R sold 110,000 if they didn't bring over Innocence. Fuck you, Namco. You the dick. Unless you want to hire me, in which case you're great. Please hire me. Oh damn, it's Attack on Titan.
Sarah! Sarah!
Why is she turning to crystal?
The sea who fulfill their focus are transformed into crystal and gain eternal life.
Just like the story said.
Could you really call that eternal life?
Sweet dreams? She's not sleeping! Sarah's... She's...
You are the... We are the crystal gems.
She's alive.
No.
The legend. Remember the legend. L'Cie who fulfilled their focus turned to crystal and gain eternal life. It's the same with Sarah. Eternal life. She's not dead. Sarah's my bride to be.
Yeah, you just gotta pry her from the crystal and she gets to leave forever. It's like, if you can free your prize from the gachapon, you get to enjoy it.
It's over!
Falcon
Open your
Punch!
eyes and face reality!
Sarah, does becoming a Lassie really mean losing everything?
Boy, I sure hope we never become Pulse Lassie. See, if I had a face cam, that'd be really funny. Man, I hate when I'm hanging out with my friends in the army, it just breaks up the fun.
The target is almost in place. Surface team, what is your status? Good to go. Resistance is under
2009 in Japan and early 2010 in the US. That's when this one came out.
Leave no trace. The pulse vestige never existed.
Came out on Xbox 360 and PS3. And the Xbox 360 version came on 3 discs. And from what I remember, like, the discs were, like, weird. It's like, disc 1, like, cuts out, like, right now. Then disc 2 is, like, another, like, 5 minutes. And then disc 3 is the rest of this huge-ass game or something.
What's happening?
It must be a sanctum strike. Bring down the vestige and the foul sea right with it.
Aren't they taking it back to Pulse? That's what the purge was, right?
All they care about is
I
getting
don't know, I think
everything
the voice
from
acting's
Pulse
pretty
to
on.
Cocoon. Dead or
Square's
alive,
usually
it's
pretty
all
good
the
about
same.
their voice acting.
We can't stay here. They'll kill us.
No, we know the Tellius game sold like shit. I have no idea why. I can understand Path of Radiance, but Radiant Dawn was a Wii game. It didn't really have an excuse.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Hold on, I've gotta go punch God in the face.
Where you going?
Date with the Foul Sea. Got some things to talk about.
What? You gonna ask it to help her? Are you out of your mind, kid? That thing wants to chew us up and spit us out.
Well, what do you want me to do?
What?
Lightning? Here we go.
Well, I mean, my issue with the Tellius games is I don't think, well, anyone that I know personally around, I only knew one person in the local area who knew that Fire Emblem even existed. And I never saw, like, because there were, like, a lot of commercials for, like, Game Boy Advance games, but I never saw that, like, oh, what's wrong with Dorcas? Oh, you poisoned mutton. I never saw that commercial. The only time I think I ever saw commercials for Fire Emblem, or even advertisements, were, like, side ads on Game FAQs at that point. And I think I only ever saw one for Path of Radiance and one for Sacred Stones. But I just don't know, like, even in, like, Japan, I think, Fire Emblem was flagging pretty hard, because, like, Nintendo doesn't just cancel a series just because it doesn't do well in the West. Like, if you're gonna lose it, it was doing shitty in Japan, too. I never realized, or no, I must have realized and I just forgot, there's a lot of palette swaps in this game. Oh, we know what made Awakening work. It was the waifus. Same reason that Heroes worked. You throw a bunch of scantily clad women on screen, and people will throw money at them. Ooh, Fort is all nice. I think we can... We've been have... Oh yeah, we can shop. We can go to Unicorn Mart. What do we got here? Potions and downs. Well, we don't get much in the way of money, huh? I got 30 potions, we don't need to worry. B&W Outfitters is like gear, I think. Is it just the Iron Bangle? Yeah, not for 500 fucking gil, we don't. Money stops becoming as much of an issue later on. And then when you get in a post-game grind, it becomes a very big issue. But we'll get to that when we get to that. It's so dark.
So this is the Foul Sea.
Whoa, it's like Genova, but it's named after Seymour's mom. Boy, that really is just straight up a reference to Genova, huh?
You gave her a focus, and she did it. You got what you want. Now let her go!
No.
Please, turn her back. I'll be your Lassie instead!
Fine. You go on begging. Like this thing gives a damn what we want!
So I'll just use the butterfly knife sword.
Lightning!
It's this thing's fault the purge started. And it's people who are dying. Sarah told us to save Cocoon.
Well, I don't think there's any, like, legitimate sales of Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn going on anymore. So, I feel like those sales figures are probably the most accurate we're ever gonna get, unless they throw them on the VC or something. Alright, kids, you ready for our first real boss? Well, Fates also had the benefit of being 3 games. I'm more excited to see how 3 Houses does. I got some things to say about 3 Houses. Most of them positive, some of them negative. Uh-oh.
Come on now. You really think you can kill a fal'Cie?
We're gonna try.
I'm doing this for Sarah.
It's an RPG, says we can kill gods.
Dodge. I'm in. As long as you don't mind an amateur. I got these things. Might as well use it.
Thanks.
Boss time! Cool, we're gonna go for the arms first because, it's safer. Remember, viewers, you can't get punched if the enemy doesn't have arms. It's life advice from comic. Cool, now it's gonna be too busy working on that, so we can just beat the shit out of it. Yeah, Three Houses is, it's the best gameplay. The gameplay is so good. Ow? Nope, nope. Oh crap, I gotta get out of... Whew! Let me just chuck another one of those out. That was close. Three Houses has very good gameplay, but the story is weak. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The story's weak. Like, the villains are just there for 4 seconds, and then they're gone, and it's like, I don't know, like, why did I care about these things? I've been given no reason to actually care about them because they were here for 2 minutes, and now they are no more. But this really is just penance, huh? Boy, yeah, but penance really is just the worst, isn't it? I guess it's like the logical endpoint of what you can do with 10's battle system. But, god, did it have to have that much HP. Oh, Snow's in trouble. Okay, I'm in trouble. Okay, that was a waste of a potion, but alright. And hey, we get the Doctor's Code, which when we throw that on someone, potions now heal 300 instead of 150. Well, it's good because Shadows of Valencia fucking sucked. Valencia is so bad. Three Houses as if Valencia was good.
Where are we?
And manages to have a better story still.
What's going on?
Uh-oh. Super tentacle hentai porn. Looks like the government was right. Keeping this thing around was a bad idea. Boy, that is a straight up Xenogears shot, isn't it?
When I couldn't see a future, and I was afraid. When the future was clear, and it hurt to see. I'd just close my eyes, and lose myself in happier days.
But it's too bad because I'm dead, because I got killed in an ocean of crystal. An ocean of crystal meth. But enough of that lame shit. Let's go to this hoppin' burger joint. This just kind of looks like Epcot. Featuring the Cramorant from Sword and Shield. Yeah, no, this is what I mean by these guys kind of look a little Dreamcasty. All these background characters kind of look a little Dreamcasty.
The whole gang's here tonight. How'd that happen? Don't know. Destiny? More like dumb luck. Let's go find him.
Excuse me.
See you around. You know. No, but I want to.
I actually wonder where Disc 1 ends for Final Fantasy XIII.
She said she'd be at the usual place.
Because it's in a weird, like, early place, I swear.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. Now,
Let's see, where does Disc 1 and FF13? Oh, it's the end of Chapter 4, and we're at the beginning of Chapter 3. That's still really early. See, she's got a cute skirt.
Making a wish?
Maybe I was. I was hoping that tomorrow I can tell my sister.
Like, what a height difference between these. I know Sarah's a full-grown adult, but this height difference is a little spooky.
Don't worry. I'll take the blame for you.
Wait, shit, Final Fantasy Tactics sold
You know,
2.5?
you should ask for
That's
something
incredible. 2.5 mil, I
These
should
are
specify.
wish-granting fireworks, like in the stories.
Stories, huh? The sea who fulfill their focus. They become crystal and gain eternal life.
Well, I think all you really need to look for is 13's PS3 version, because I don't think the Xbox version sold too well, like in Japan and whatnot.
We'll figure
It's like
this thing out.
4 360s exist in
You will
Japan.
never be one of those monsters.
So what will I be? A crystal?
Yesterday at the store, I got us something.
It sucks that you might die forever, but look at this cool pendant.
Don't know much about jewelry, but I hope you like it. I will stand by you, no matter what happens. I'm yours forever. Sarah. My one, my only. Will you marry me?
He said it.
Yes.
She said yes!
Way to whip out the marriage proposal as a way to just make her feel better about that kind of thing. It's a little emotionally manipulative. Well, 12 also has the benefit of having a remake. And on a install base as huge as the PS2.
Gotta love love these fireworks. They granted my wish.
Your wish?
Before I asked you to marry me, I wish that you would say yes.
Wow, and that came true, huh? You could have wished it to save my life.
Maybe they'll grant mine, too.
What's that?
To have the courage to tell Lightning that I've become a Lassie.
Hey, our engagement is way bigger news.
Jackass.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see her face. She'll be my new sister.
Yeah.
So now I gotta say, this probably doesn't feel like the best idea. And what, there are like no police like stopping this? There are explosives going around, that's gotta be hot.
Hey, Snow?
Yeah.
I don't know what you were expecting, buddy.
That was close.
Gorgeous. Our own private heaven.
All we need. Just you and me.
Wow, it's like that scene from Final Fantasy X without half a game of build-up first. Drink from my breast, child.
Thank you, Snow.
I don't know, that still kind of hits me the same. I thought it was actually nice. I'm a sucker for cheesy romance with good music, and honestly, I think those particular graphics still hold up really well. They put a lot of juice into that cutscene in particular. All the Dreamcast background.
Sarah!
Is this for real?
Well, I just don't think anyone asked for lightning returns. It's like, yeah, 13.3, time limit, only playing as lightning.
This must be Lake Brescia? I guess we fell from up there. And the lake turned to crystal? Help me out here. I mean, did the Foul Sea do this? How in the world
And
did
then
we
plus,
end
like,
up here?
I don't know, Lightning Return, 13.2 and Lightning Returns both just looked way worse than 13. So it was clear they were budget titles to just kind of recoup the Crystal Tools engine.
Not without a miracle. Sarah saved us.
Sarah, listen. It's all your fault.
Oh fuck, a Seath.
Hey, 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 hey! Watch out!
Uh-oh.
What did I just do?
You used magic. You used the power of Lassie. The Foul Sea cursed us. We're Lassie now. Right.
That's a dope shot. Cool, so now we can actually start getting into the meat of the game. So, let's explain it. So by pressing L1, we can use a paradigm shift. which we can assign different paradigms to everyone. There are 6 different paradigms. We can't give anyone any paradigm yet that comes later, but certain characters are kind of just built as certain paradigms to begin with in the first place. So actually cool, we're going to stick with this one because that one is particularly good. Ravagers will be casting magic. There's kind of a lot to explain. So if we switch to Solidarity, first time you switch paradigms in any battle, you have to see this part of a cutscene. So now Snow is going to be the Sentinel, which serves as a tank. He's going to be taking a lot less damage and drawing enemy fire. Vanille is tossing curative spells out because now she's a medic. And we're doing damage because we are Calm, the physical class. Now, Comrav Rav is a really useful setup because the way it works is Ravagers build up the stagger meter really fast, but if you only build it up using magic, it depletes really fast too. Using commando skills or saboteur debuffs keep it going down more slow, so you kind of have to play around with it a bit. It's fun. I like it a lot.
So we really are Lassie.
Looks like it.
You too?
Yep. Right here.
Okay.
Panty shot.
Let's see to the last.
Why me? I don't even know you, but you have to go and attack that thing? Just leave me alone. It's your fault. It's your fault, You could have. All of this is your and Sarah's fault.
Watch it!
Oh shit. Nah, man, if you're keeping the chat alive, go for it.
Everything is gonna be alright. You'll see. Come on. Off we go.
I like this is the most I've used a PS3 controller in a while outside of the Jack and Daxter streams. I don't know, because it just sucks, because PS3 controllers are like one of the harder ones to replace nowadays.
Yep.
Because it only ever seems like there's bootlegs around. Like, there's only ever bootleg controllers, or you're paying out the ass for a brand new PS3 controller. And then straight up, they just don't feel that good anymore. You don't go backwards in the PS4, you really don't. PS4 controller is so comfortable. PS3 still holds a better charge, though. How are we keeping the traction on this crystal?
If we don't know our focus, how do we complete it?
I think I saw it.
Saw what?
That is how focus comes down, people. The Fal'Cie, they don't spell it out with clear-cut instructions. All you get is a hazy glimpse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, that's what they say. You know, legends and all. Legends.
Did you see anything?
Yeah, PS4, PS2 are really good. PS3 is and I don't think I could go back to the
It's all
PS1.
kinda
That one
foggy,
doesn't
but
feel too good in my hands
Saw
anymore.
this big, towering.
What? Wait a minute. Hold on now. Do we all have the same dream?
Ragnarok.
Little clay fingies.
So, we all saw the same dream. We all heard that same voice.
You mean that was our focus? But how are we supposed to know what to do from that?
That's the tricky part. The dream's the only hint the fal'Cie gives us. Figuring out what to do with it, that's our job.
That kind of sucks.
We're pulselessly, right? Enemy's a cocoon. So, does that mean that our focus is... Are we supposed to...
Save her.
Say what?
Our focus is to protect Cocoon.
Really? Okay. And why's that?
Sarah told us. Let's do it. We're all in this together. I'm gonna look for Sarah. She ought to
The
be
North
nearby.
Mythos Crec is all Square has to them. It's like... Remember, like, every RPG in, like, the 90s? Like, every PS1 RPG just had to have Yggdrasil in some way, shape, or form in it. And Dragon Quest is still hitting that good. Cool. Cool, y'all ready for the Crystarium? This is how we level up now. Now every battle we fight can, go towards our growth. Time to develop lightning. And everyone has their own, like, unique Crystarium. Cool, so we can grab Ruin if we want. And all we have to do is hold X. Cool. So we can go this way and get some more HP and potentially Life Siphon. But we didn't have enough. So basically, it's kind of like the Sphere Grid, but like, oh, will be Valkyrie profile. I mean, that's... that one's obvious. But yeah, CP, you don't get unique ones for each role, so you kind of have to think about how you want to spend it. But fortunately, you're kind of limited to how much you can grow per chapter. Like, once every chapter ends, you'll get a new stage to your Crystarium, but there's gonna be a point where, you know, you're kind of hard limited. So, like, grinding's not gonna do too much. Strategy's gonna mean a lot more than grinding in this game. There is a challenge in this game where you only develop one character's Crystarium, and I don't know, I've kind of wanted to always do that, but I don't really have the, guts. I'm not really into challenge runs like that. And so we have Ruin. I'm gonna grab some, well... some good HP. And hey, we got this strength, too. So we're all done with Commando. Snow can't do any more Commando in this chapter. Magic plus 6. I feel like that HP plus 70 is all we'd really want from that. Oh well. And we'll build up Vanille as well. We can build up literally anyone. I'm glad you can join up again, Matthias. So, Vanille is definitely more of a magic, because her physical thing just fucking sucks. Strength. Oh, he didn't have enough to get water. Oh well. Sassus gets his Frocobo feather. All he has is Ravenger, huh? I say Ravenger? It's not a word. You know, I don't think I've ever tried hitting the L1 and R1 buttons here. Alright, I want to jump straight into Synergist, because that's how we get buffs. Like, it doesn't appear we get any right now, but we can get them, so I'd like them. Like, see if we can establish Protect. So that's fun. And now every time we get into a fight, we're gonna get a little CP, so...
We can worry about everything else later.
Crystarium points, you absolute jerks.
There's gotta be a way through here somewhere. Let's keep looking.
That one kind of, like, those little jumps kind of remind me a lot of Final Fantasy. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. But But yeah, see, the battle's gonna go a lot faster now that we can get the stagger meter going way up. Swapping paradigms also, when you swap it over, sometimes it gives you a full ATB bar right off the bat to enjoy it. So, it helps to switch. Actually, can we set up more paradigms, or are we locked? Nope, we can establish all 6 right now if we wanted. Alright, so we get Tri-Disaster going, which is 3 Ravengers. So once we get... Do I keep saying Ravenger? Yeah, Comcom Rav, that should be good. I mean, I enjoy being over-leveled sometimes, but I don't know. In this one, I kind of enjoy the fact that it kind of has to make me think rather than just brute force my way through. Plus, it gives you a lot of grinding to do in post-game. We're gonna head back, because I feel like there's treasure down that route.
There's a lot of enemies.
Let's see. Kinda all you have to think about. Your reward for going off the beaten path is always treasure. You get a Pearl Wing Staff. Get your magic up, which is all you need. And the best part is like, Ravengers and Commandos aren't necessarily gimped just because you have bad strength or bad magic. You could be a good, or you could be, like, have really shitty strength to be a good Commando, because the Ruin spell counts as your physical thing there, so it's good. And then you get, like, elemental physical attacks to boost up your, stagger gauge for your magic kind of thing. Yeah, see, Ruin, it's pretty cool. I kind of wish Ruin returned in more Final Fantasies. I think it's just this one and, like, maybe Record Keeper? Or one of the other 400, Final Fantasy gotchas. Yeah, you see how fast the stagger bar was going down just because we were hitting it with magic? You have to stabilize it with Commando. And Ruin will stabilize it as well. Like, certain spells will stabilize it. Like, Ruin will stabilize it. Debuffs will stabilize it. But if you're just using Ravager, it's not going to be doing you too well. Because you're not going to be stabilizing it, so it's going to be going down really fast.
This just might work.
No treasure.
Magic may be
That's
cursed,
bullshit.
but
I went
it's
4
strong
seconds out of my
enough.
way.
What's to stop us from putting it to good use?
And I got no rewards? What is this horse hockey? See, this is what I'm talking about. I took 2 steps out of my way, and I got $200 for it. This is the America I want. Oh, peace out, Xiphius. I assume that's how it's pronounced.
Ragnarok. That's the reason we're Lassie. To stop it. To keep Cocoon safe.
I was about to say, we're kind of
Yeah,
getting kind of
why
deep
don't you
into
give
it. I
us
should
one
probably
reason
be
to
heading
believe
off
that?
soon, too.
One reason.
Sarah. She said to protect
After this
Cocoon,
cutscene, of course.
And then she turned to Crystal.
I didn't realize it was 2 hours and 40 minutes in.
She completed her focus. That means ours is to save Cocoon. Sarah's fal'Cie was the same as ours. Our focus has got to be the same. We were chosen to be guardians. To defeat Ragnarok. It makes sense.
What the hell it does? You're grasping at straws, son. Post-fal'Cie are Cocoon's enemies. We just got recruited by one of them.
Oh, that sucks, doesn't it?
If I were a betting man, I'd put us on the other side.
So Sarah's an enemy too? Well, I don't buy it. We have the power to save Cocoon if we work together and carry out our focus.
Whoa, gang.
fal'Cie took Sarah from us, and you want to help it?
What choice do we
Whose
have,
side
yo?
are you on?
Freeze, police! I love how everyone's always posing with their guns.
Hands behind your heads.
You fall off the purge train?
Maybe.
Are you talking back to me? Huh? Huh?
Nice gun.
Whoa, she's cool. Though I think her cape is silly. I don't mind that that was dropped. Or I think it was dropped. Ah, we already know that. So we can set up all the ruins we want. Actually, let's get solidarity going. I just want Snow to draw aggro. Well, yeah, we were one-shotting them. Solidarity was the way to go about it. Ooh, Fortisol. I think that's still rare at this point.
I thought they'd be tougher than that. This guy's a psychom, yeah? Supposed to be cream of the crop.
Yeah, but Psycom's an anti-pulse
Gang
task
sign!
force. Haven't fought a war in centuries. Bunch of rookie troops swinging around overpriced toys.
So, from what you're telling me, sounds like a regular old soldier has got more training than special forces.
Nothing for us Lassie to be afraid of.
Cut the crap. Their grunts might be green, but Psycom's elites are cold-blooded beasts. They hit the field and it's game over.
Uh-oh. Then let's run away. Ciao.
Wait, hey, wait! What's a man to do?
Frokobo says yes. And Lightning says, friendship. So let's keep going. No, that's a save point up there. We'll see. Hey, pals. Guess not. Guess we'll just keep going until we hit a save point. I'm still having fun, so why not? Now, setting up 3 commandos to like just deal a bunch of like amazing physical damage is actually not a good idea, because 3 commandos will attack all different targets. It's only worthwhile to go for it's called the Cerberus paradigm. It's only worthwhile to go for it if there's only one enemy left. Especially if they're staggered. Then at that point you're just dealing so much damage, it's ridiculous. It's Vanille Joseph. Yeah, the Joestar secret technique. Ciao! I was wondering why no one else is attacking and forgot I was still in solidarity. There probably goes our 5-star. You kinda gotta be quick on the upkeep with those. Especially if you want, like, high rankings. Because I think you get more Crystarium points the higher rankings you get. Not like it ultimately matters, but, you know, every little bit counts. Especially if you're just fucking up. Then it's also kind of like Final Fantasy XII in the sense that you don't get Gil straight up. So, well, not necessarily. Are we getting Gil straight up? No, we're not. The items you get, you can either sell or convert to raise your weapon power, but I'll get more into that in, like, post-game, because it really doesn't matter until, like, post-game. You can go through this game with just, like, the straight-up weapons that you're given and you'll be fine. What, you don't like Crystarium? Like, what? What are we thinking? That sounds like a disease. Russian bass, huh? Yeah, Thunder is the best, like, skill, like, magic to go for because it comes out the fastest. It's, like, instantaneous, whereas the other ones have travel time to factor in. And sometimes, like, that's no good. You don't want to have to worry about travel time. If you're going for the speed, you just want to get that Thunder going immediately. Because Stagger will interrupt really bad attacks, too. What's so bad about it? Yeah, see, full bar right out the gate. It's great. Stagger, switch on over to like com, and it's great. Because the effects of all the effects of the paradigm are strengthened when you have 3 of them. Like if you have 3 commandos around, you're going to be dealing more damage. If you have 3 ravagers around, you're going to be staggering faster. 3 medics will heal faster. If you have 3 sentinels on the field, you just straight up don't take much in the way of damage. Like, you don't even have to be using, like, Steel Guard. You just straight up take way less damage if you've got 3 sentinels on the field.
Stay sharp.
So, it's pretty cool. And then plus when you stagger them, they get an extra 100 onto their stagger gauge immediately. Because the stagger gauge being high in general means that they're just taking more damage in the first place. But you see that thing staggered too quickly without too much stabilization. So in general, the stagger bar is going way down, like too fast.
Stay sharp.
See, no travel time to factor in, just immediate zip-zap zoop. Which for post-game farming is really useful. But like I said, we'll get there when we get there. That's not a long way away, but it is definitely not next stream is all I'm getting at. Let's see. Yep, that one's twice as good as the Iron Bangle. And I'm gonna get that bangle off anyway and put the doctor's code on, because improved potions is hella. And then even once the doctor's code stops being useful, like in regards that potions just can't keep up with the damage anymore, they have one other use. There are 3 doctor's codes in the game, and they have one other very important use that you can use them for. But we'll get to that when we get to that, because right now, even explaining what happens is kind of pointless. I actually don't know how long this series is going to be, or if I'll even keep it. If a ton of people don't really want it, I won't keep doing it, but I'd like to keep doing it. Anyway, I think now, speaking of future streams, I feel like now's as good a time as any to end the current one. We're almost at 3 hours. It's about as long as I wanted to go for. We got pretty far in. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know when the next time we'll do this is. We'll see what I'm feeling with, because I definitely want to do White Knight Chronicles. And we still got a lot of time before we get to 5th gen of Pokemon, so... Who knows, maybe we'll do White Knight Chronicles on, like, Wednesday. And the only reason I mention what it is with streaming is that these are low view counts compared to what we sometimes get, but I don't really care because... Like, DJ Space Invader is like, oh, sorry if I'm flooding your stream, and I'm like, hey, look at that. Comments. So, that's all I really care about. So long as you guys are interactive, it doesn't really matter if there's 12 or 2 or 1,200. So, a little bit of insight. So, we're going to call this a stream for now. We're going to get back to this, probably next Saturday. Probably do White Knight Chronicles on Wednesday. Try my best to get, try our best to get Sky going on Monday. So, we're going to be doing more streams than LPs for the rest of the year. I'm taking a break from LPing until 2020, so... I'm going to get that up in an announcement video real soon. So, thank you so very much for joining me. Really appreciate it. I've wanted to do this series for, like, hell, I started LPing, like, mid-2000, or, like, last 2/3 of 2010, and I've wanted to do a series on this for just as long. So, anyway, thank you so very much for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your weekend, and take care. I saved, right? Make absolutely sure. Consider this the guiding episode. This is the comic corner, where your burning questions about comic can be answered. Actually, you know what? For the people that didn't leave just immediately, I'm going to give you a special peek I might edit this one out. Alright, we're gonna quit the game. We're gonna look at the pictures that I'd saved as a young lad. The PS3. We're gonna call this the Peak S3, the PS3 Peak, if you will. Oh my god! Can I finally show this off? Wait, did I ever tell you guys that, like, on Game FAQs' poll of the day, tell me everyone hasn't left yet. On Game FAQs' poll of the day board, like, one of the polls of the day was, how do you pronounce February? And so, like, there were, like, a ton of different options on how February was being pronounced. And so, someone posted, like, this, which is just...
February, 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 February.
Like, that's all it is, it just loops! And I've kept that ever since, because it's the best. And I don't think I've ever gotten to show this off yet, but that's the legendary February loop. Oh my god, I've finally shown it off. And I used to have, like, all my CDs I burned to the PS3 as well, but I had to get rid of them to save space. So let's take a look at... I don't know why this is classified as July 2005. Just take a look at all the pictures I've accumulated. Like, look, I was really into Megadeth at this point, so this was my background for a while. Link. Actually, I think Link is still my... Yeah, Link is still my profile picture. I think this was one of my backgrounds for a while before we even knew Skyward Sword's name. This is all we had for a year. Screenshot from 3D Dot Game Heroes. Should get back to that game one day. Yeah, all these are... I think these are all just reaction images. Remember this? Remember how when YouTube looked like this, and this was like the PlayStation... Yeah, this was like the PSP marketing campaign. The Chrono Trigger, like, map fits pretty well into Super Mario World. A comic that I just downloaded for free. Yeah, these were all just reaction images, but, like, downloaded at really... the dead space. This one's just the nostalgia critic. Just thought his face was funny. Oh yeah, you lost the game. Am I right, guys? Yeah, this is when I went on Failblog, unironically. More Megadeth, Yojimbo. This cute picture of Eris that I don't have the, that just says Happy Halloween. I don't know who drew this. It's a good picture. Yeah, Carl on Duty, Black Cops. Oh yes, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. That one's still funny, I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was epic. This was le epic. This one's still funny. This is when I used to post on Game FAQs. Did I delete the... I must have. That's weird. Yeah, hey look, White Knight Chronicles, speaking of. Oh, this is the one that I lifted for the Explorers of Sky thumbnail. Oh yeah, this was the only advertisement I ever saw for Dragon Quest VI DS. I was so hyped for this, it hurt. Look, racism. Back when I thought that was funny. Nomdog, Dragon Quest 1 map. Fan art. Hot Grunty. And then I think, like, these were all just, like, icons for all the albums I put on the PS3. It was like, let's see, Alice in Chains Dirt, Seasons in the Abyss, Reaction Images, Soundgarden, Rain and Blood, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Metallica. cool cosplay of like a Phasm corrupted Samus. And then this, because I thought this was my background for a long time. I don't know why I got rid of it. And that's the PS3, the Peak S3. What else do we have here? I guess the games I downloaded. Yeah, I downloaded Dark Arisen and then never played it, and I also have it on the PS4 now. Same with Dark Souls 2. Catherine, back when I thought that was okay. Oops. Vagrant Story. I mean, this is how I played, how I beat Tactics. Now, Vagrant Story, the description for Vagrant Story here had a typo in it for years. When it says Ashley Wright is accused of murdering a duke, until like I'm gonna say like 16, this said 2015 maybe. It said Ashley Wright is accused of murdering a duke. They forgot the first R in murdering for like half a decade. I swear to you, and I wish I screen capped it to prove it. You can go on the internet browser. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna do that. You know, I think the last thing I did with the PS3's internet browser was I watched, because the PS3 can't get viruses. So I think the last thing I used the PS3 browser for was to watch the Kizumonogatari trilogy. I'd look it up right now, but I also remember that I used to look up porn on this, and I'm kind of afraid that like I open this up and it's just gonna like be like the last piece of porn I looked at from like, because I don't remember now if I watched Kizu on the PS4 or the PS3, so I don't accidentally want to just like, you know what, here, what if I just... It was 2010, it was the only option I had. Alright, I'm gonna drop the monitor thing just to make sure that I don't just... Oh no, the last thing we tried watching was Akame ga Kill. That's equally as embarrassing. Is it still up? No, it defaults to game FAQs. No, I got rid of all those bookmarks too. Alright, there's no porn, guys. I must have cleared those. Because it just defaults to game FAQs, because that's where I win. That's all I used to go on back in those days. Because that's actually where my LP got its start. The Poll of the Day board is where I met, she goes by Hazel now. I met Hazel, and she was getting into LP, and I'm like, alright, I'm finally going to try it after trying for like a year. And then I used like I figured out how to get it off my camera onto the computer and upload it. So, you know, that's that. That's kind of the nostalgic look through at what the PS3 used to PSB. And well, that's really it. I guess yeah, YouTube would have fucking destroyed me if I put porn on it. My god. But yes, fortunately. Yeah, then I must have watched Kizu on the PS4, which is weird, because I wouldn't usually risk my PS4 with that, but I don't think the PS4 can get viruses either. Anyway, I've kept you all longer than I said I would. We're gonna call it for tonight. Thank you so very much for joining me, and we'll do more PS3 RPGs in general coming up, because White Knight Chronicles was the first PS3 game I played, and I've been promising an LP of that since 2011. Like, if you go back, you'll see that I announced it White Knight Chronicles LP like in mid 2011. So it'll be really cool to like actually go back and do it. So anyway, I've kept you all too long. Get the fuck out of here and have yourselves a wonderful rest of the night. Love y'all.